Welcome to the Professional Arena League Weekly Scrim Preseason Week 2. My name is Kai McMahon. I'll be your host and caster for today's events. This week's teams that are fighting for the Preseason Week 2 crown are Consortium out of Miller, the Jesters out of Cobalt, Total Recoil out of Connery, and No Nonsense Gamers out of Matherson. Before we begin, let me introduce my co-caster, M7A3T5.
Thanks, Kai. I'm really looking forward to today's matches, guys. We've got a great staff of officials here today that are ready to ensure that we have some fun, fair matches out there. Today's head official is Macon, and right now our head officials are currently in the process of getting these teams ready and in place for this week's showdown.
Without further ado, let's see the bracket and see who these teams are facing in round 1. Match 1 will pit Consortium versus the Jesters against one another, with the winner moving on to face the victor of Total Recoil versus No Nonsense Gamers. In a normal PAL Weekly, these matchups will be selected off the queue after signups to give us our 4 teams. Tonight, these teams have volunteered to help us with a full format production test. So tonight, we're testing the full format of PAL Weekly. All matchups will be one round winner-take-all match. The arena will begin in a neutral capture state, and teams will fight to try to capture it. If the base is successfully captured, the match will end with the capturing team as the victor. If neither team can capture the base within 20 minutes, the winning team will be the team holding the most influence over the base at that time. Each team will typically be awarded a victory or defeat badge based on the results, but again, tonight's results are unofficial because we're just in preseason. Going with that, actually, since we're in preseason, you may see some hiccups and etc. There are some situations with some of the rules being changed off our website. You're just going to have to kind of grin and bear with us. It's a format test, but we're still getting some of the kinks worked out. After the winners of round 1 are selected, the 2 winners will fight and battle in the second round to be PAL Weekly's preseason Week 2 champion. PAL rules are in effect here, and teams breaking these rules will automatically be DQ'd. Matt, can you help explain these rules?
Yeah, sure can. Alright, so here you go, guys. The rules are as follows. No smoke grenades. No ground vehicles or air vehicles. No shotguns. No underbarrel attachments. No jackhammer, mini chain gun, or lasher use. No max units. No motion sensor darts or motion sensors. No spawn beacons. No approaching, camping, or attacking the other team's sunder. Teams will only be able to spawn on their assigned sunder before the fight. Players cannot go past, over, or around the surrounding walls. All sunderers, are considered off limits and cannot be destroyed, and players cannot walk or go through their opponent's spawn room. As you can see, the restrictions are the same as the PAL Spring Season Tournament. Today's officials will be looking for these violations and making sure that no one breaks these rules. Let me remind you that breaking the rules will result in a team disqualification, so our officials will be in play, keeping a watchful eye on today's team.
We've seen the restrictions, Matt, but what base are these teams going to be fighting in?
Well, as stated previously, all matches in the weekly tournament will be taking place on the Octagon. It's a base located in Esamir. It's got tall walls surrounding a 4-point capture system of a base.
Okay, so a coin flip will determine the placement of the team's sunderers at the beginning of the match. This coin flip takes place off camera before each match, which our head official, Macon. The team calling the coin flip will be determined based on their placement in the bracket, which was randomly chosen during the sign-up period. Winning the coin flip will allow the team to pick their sunderer's location. There are 2 on the Octagon, remember. If both teams desire to play the same faction, designated at the time of sign-up for the PAL Weekly Tournament, it'll be resolved by this same coin flip. In this scenario, the winner of the coin flip will have to choose whether they want to pick their faction or their sunderer placement. Which other option they do not choose will fall to the other team. The third match's coin flip caller is determined by a separate coin flip to keep everything fair. Alright everyone, that's the overview for today's PAL Weekly Preseason Week 2 competition. Let's get ready for match number 1. For our first match of the night, we have Consortium versus the Jesters. Macon, what were the results for the coin flip for this match? Macon, are you there?
Yes, I am. The Jesters won the coin flip, which means that they chose to play NC as their faction. That leaves the Sunday placement up to Consortium. They chose to have the Southern Sunderers and to play as the Vanu Sovereignty.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Macon. And I'll let you get back to getting these teams squared away and ready to go.
Thank you.
M7, what do you think about this matchup?
Well, this is pretty great. Last week, what did we have? TR versus Vanu, right? This week we got Vanu versus NC. Really looking forward to this. I can't wait to see what these outfits, pull out of their hats with, a hard-hitting faction, a more lockdown faction. Even though the TR's got the lockdown ability. Then we got the Vanu, who are more agile. So their guns, that's just their trait, their factional trait. I'm really looking forward to seeing how the different outfits use the strengths of the empires that they chose.
We both of these are EU teams. One from Miller, one from Cobalt. Do you think we'll see a ping problem? I think Jaeger is a US server. Do you think that's going to cause any competition problems here, or?
Ping, I mean, I've been hearing a lot about ping on live as well. Some players having trouble with that, losing to people. They feel like they shouldn't. We'll just have to see. That's just the thing with this game. It's the thing with any game. Talk to the developers, see if they can get that fixed. Try to rush them with it, maybe. But yeah, I definitely think it'll definitely play a factor. Being from EU, having the servers in the state that they are right now. Yeah, it'll definitely affect the match in some way.
So we actually have a wonderful website, proarenaleague.com. I'm not sure if our viewers have seen it yet. If they haven't, you have to go there. Vengeance D has done an excellent job setting that up. Part of this website is kind of a nifty thing for PAL Weekly. We have the 4-team bracket on there, and this is included in this preseason matchup. And it lets the viewers, etc., whoever's out there, vote on how they think the results will go. So for this matchup, we actually have Consortium with a 69% favored from the audience, with Jesters getting the 31% vote. It'll be interesting to see how our audience fares in these kind of events versus what the teams actually can do. How do you think it is, Matt, to be an underdog where you come in and people think that 31%? Does that fuel you at all, or?
Yeah, that's true. That's a tough question. If you came in and you think, you're not expected to win, it's definitely hard on some of the guys. It's just different personalities. I really feel like it's different personalities within an outfit. It depends on, the leader. If he can use that, get a, good speech, build up the guys' morale, be like, listen, guys, these guys don't think that we can do it. These guys don't know how we play. They don't know how good we are. They don't know who we are. Let's go show them who we are. And you can, really rally up your guys and get them, pumped and like, okay, let's go do this. Let's go show them who we are. But, maybe there might be still those guys that either the team leader, the squad leader, the outfit leader isn't able to kindle their morale enough. They just feel too defeated right off the bat because of that stat. Maybe, if I was an alpha leader, I'd say, you guys, don't look at it. Ignore what it says. Doesn't matter. Go out there, play your best. Try your hardest. Bring what you got. Bring your A game. And let's show them, who we are, no matter what they say.
So it sounds like we've got a few minutes left until we get going here with our first match of this preseason week 2. We have NC going up against Vanu. Do you think there are any weapons, etc., Matt, that from your experience that you think that you'll see in a lot of these kits? The
Orion, SVA-88 for the Vanu. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw some EM6s. Godsaws, 1 or 2 of those, great for long range, incredible. I mean, I've even played Vanu and gotten just destroyed by those things. The time to kill with them is pretty nice if you can land the bullets and got the accuracy to handle that Godsaw, But EM1's pretty great weapon, it's a lot of fun. The Anchor too. I know of a really skilled, high-skilled player on Watterson, I believe I heard, or was it Connery? But really, top of the line, top tier player. He used the Anchor with an advanced laser sight to hip fire and beat Orion users. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of the guys pulled that out of the hat. That's just going for heavy assaults. For medics, which is another really important class in a match like this, I mean, you're going to have GV22s, GR28, all the different carbines for the NC. Depends on what range the guys want to use, the medics want to use. You could have some SMGs in there possibly. The Blitz is great. Cyclone's pretty hard hitting. For the Vanu, H-TAC V45, that's going to be sick. That's a great weapon to use. Preference, whether you like the laser sight or the advanced laser sight or the forward grip. Personally, I go with the forward grip. That's just me. I like, shooting guys from a little longer range, having the versatility, which is, another good factor of the VS. But speaking of that, another big factor that they're going to have to their advantage is the 0.75 movement with speed multiplier. So if they have those H-Tacs and if they have those, Orions and the SVA-88s, they're really going to have that advantage. They can ADS, strafe, still at, a fairly decent speed. It's not, going to be hampered to 0.5. And they could definitely use that for their advantage as Vonu. But still, NC, whatever. You do your little jiggy. I'll just shoot you with my bullets and kill you. I don't care what you're gonna do. I'm still gonna kill you. With my God Saw. You can't dodge this. So.
Just a reminder, going back to our coin flip, these teams are both NC by default. So the Jesters are staying on NC by winning the coin flip, and Consortium is going VS. But what you're saying is, how do you think that impacts you? We're in an outfit that plays, all three factions, but some of these other outfits, I don't know how much they dabble. What is your experience in terms of the competitive scene? Do we have people out there that are always playing on other factions to keep this situation under control, or?
That's a good question. That's a good question. In the competitive scene, I feel like a lot of guys, we're pretty experienced with the game. A lot of the guys that are interested in the competitive stuff, we've definitely played all four factions. Excuse me, all three factions. I'm not a fourth factioner. Only switch. We have a weekly schedule, guys. We don't skip. Anyways, three factions. They've all probably dabbled in them. Most definitely. They at least know the name, probably know the type of weapon it is, and I bet that a majority of them have used it. So. They might be more experienced with their NC weapons. At least I was before we started, going three factions, once every week, and switching on a weekly basis. But before that, yeah, I definitely knew the NC weapons a heck of a lot better than the TR, and TR was probably the least knowledge I had in the VS, and then the NC I had, quite significant gap in knowledge between the NC weapons, the VS and the TR. Because simply that's where you spend most of your time. You spend most of your time with your outfit, playing the games. At least some of us do. So you're going to know those weapons a little better. But I still do think, they probably have a good handle on it. They probably know what to use. They probably, have heard. They probably discussed this stuff, around the water cooler, right? Just chatting about different things.
The Araxium water cooler.
The Araxium water cooler, where we talk about our weapons on other factions.
That's like in the biolab, right?
Yeah, that's once they're sitting there. Once the farm started in the biolab, they all just meet around the SCU and pull the water cooler out.
It's got the chatting. Casual music and then hey guys.
Yep, that's what's up. But no, most likely these guys know their weapons. They know what to use. Though I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't know the Vonu's weapons. Being NC, I would not be surprised they didn't know the Vonu's weapons as well, but being NC for as long as I did and going to Vonu, guys, come on, it's easy mode. It's really nice. Really great weapons to use. They're really easy to pick up, learn really quickly, and, just shine with. So I feel like, using the Orion and the SVA-88, those kind of guns for the heavy assaults, it'll be a lot easier of a learning curve for them. Even if they haven't picked it up before, you know what I mean? Even if they've never tried it before, never got their hands on that weapon before, I still like I still feel they'll do a good job with it. Maybe not as good as somebody who's been playing Vonu, for a year, but they'll still do a pretty adequate job, assuming that they're, pretty highly experienced players.
So just so the stream viewers know, we're currently waiting for the teams to ruddy up to our head officials, and then after that, we'll do a 30-second countdown and get going. It looks like they're still in their final stages. I see a couple Sunderers. The Sunderers are all in place. It looks like they might be working on their loadouts. So Matt and I are here, kind of just chatting about PAL Weekly and what's to come. I think we had in our original last week, we had recently, we had a test scrim between NNG and TXR, who, of course, are going against each other again tonight, which is kind of interesting. Well, that's our second match.
I can't wait.
That's our second match. But what we saw there, and I thought it was fairly effective. We got some feedback on, Reddit and the like about the Octagon being hard for viewers to follow because of the 4 points and there being a little craziness. But I think, and Matt, you can agree or disagree with what I'm about to say here, it makes for a hell of a fight. You and I have to work a little bit harder, I think, this week on keeping the chaos clear and telling what's going on a little bit better for our viewers. But with the 4 points, this is down to your individual skill levels and your individual groups.
It can definitely come down to it, yeah.
Because you can get those 3 point fights, or those three person fights.
3 on 3, 2 on 2.
And they can change the entire scope of the game.
1 on 4. 1 on
Yeah.
4. One guy takes 4 guys out. I mean, how ballin' is that, guys? Come on.
Last
That is
week
so cool.
in our previous preseason, we saw TXR had a spread tactic, right, where they spread out their forces
Yeah.
and tried to capture. It looked like 3 out of 4 points at all times.
Holding those, yeah, 3 out of 4, man. That's the killer.
And NNG seemingly grouped up and kind of went for one point, maybe 2 points at a time. They put a lot of their forces in one thing. So it's interesting to see how those different tactics, and they adapt. I mean, they adapt them in there. When you have this 4-point base with the kind of arena feel, because it's got the walls and everything, it really makes for an interesting strategic perspective. We're still working on getting that, sold to our fan base. But what we have is a really cool product, I think, here, and the rules are unique because there are no vehicles. It's down to the pure infantry play. So it's definitely by itself in terms of what we have in the competitive scene. Getting word from our head official that VS say maybe 4 minutes away.
And it looks like that was a minute ago, so around 3 at this point.
3 minutes.
Yeah, but going off what you were saying, I mean, I really think playing in this, man, I can't wait. I've played 12v12s. I played Proud Rules before. They're great. I absolutely adore them. I haven't done them though at this base. I really want to do that with an organized outfit, with a group of guys that I've been playing with for however long, X amount of days, X amount of years. Can't wait to do that. I think it's going to be so cool because, like I said before, one dude takes out 4 guys. If they, come in one at a time, that's the thing. If you go one at a time, you have the opportunity to take them all out. It's a lot harder if, 2 guys come into you at once. Still is possible, but it's a little more of a challenge. But those kind of feelings, just imagine how that player feels when he does that, then saves that point for his team and does this or does that. Even just getting more time on the clock for your team, for your faction, for your outfit is important. And all that stuff just makes you feel valued as a valued member of the team. Like, holy crap, I just took out 4 guys. I can't believe I just did that. This is awesome. This game is great. This is so much fun. And that's what we're looking for. I really want to bring pleasure to you guys. I want you guys to enjoy watching this, the viewers. I want the guys playing this to have a blast. And that's, that's where my focus is really. I want, people to come in here, want to come in here every single week, enjoy coming in here, enjoy, fighting each other, the challenge, the competition, the base, the match, the rules, everything. We want it to be as perfect as possible so there can be as much joy as possible that we can get out of this. And I mean, I think there's nothing better than when take out a few guys, maybe even just 2, 2v and you solo both of them. Like, come on guys, throw more at me. Obviously 2 isn't enough. Bring 3 at me. Like, you puff up your chest a little bit. You feel a little
Chest
cocky, you're
bump
just like,
status?
you chest bump, then's what happens. Your friend comes up, so you just took D by yourself, and your friend comes, he's like, dude, did you just waste those 2 bodies? And you're like, hell yeah, I did, man. And he's like, you just bump a chest, and you're just like, alright, let's, get ready to lock this area down. And just, that camaraderie, that enjoyment, that play, like, it can't be matched, it can't be beat. I've had those feelings on live sometimes. It's a lot of fun. It's really cool. It's not easy to do, especially if you're fighting good guys in an organized environment like this. So I think it just makes it even better. It makes the moment more savory. So good stuff.
And what I love about this is that we have 2 rounds. I mean, this is an interesting perspective because you come into these mini tournaments, and it's cool because we can cycle through teams, 4 at a time. So you can get those newcomers, you can get those old-time established outfits.
Yeah.
But you have a weekly champion. Like, it's not just you're one and done. It's like, holy shit, we can go on to the next round and win and be a champion. There's that pressure. You can do really well in the first round and drop the ball in the second. And that's
in your
just
second
really,
round, the championship or whatever for that week.
Really exciting kind of dynamic to it. Speaking dynamic,
sweet.
Just got the double ready.
Here we go. 30
We have
seconds
30
to start.
seconds to start. We got both teams ready to go, ready to start this round 1 match.
Nice stuff. So what do you think is going to happen? Where do you think the teams are going to come from?
I hope they spread. We saw a spread last week, and it, very quickly started fighting over the Bravo point in the middle. Match has begun.
There we
Both
go,
teams
there
are
we
now
go.
running down their lanes. Looks like
All
a
right.
big push on the south side. I see a big push on the
NC
south
doing
side.
both. NC pushing for both. I see 5
It's a
at D.
mix. It's
Yep.
a total mix. We got a bunch of Vanu
For
moving
VS
into
as well?
the
Oh,
Charlie
man.
point. Yes, they're moving now into the extreme points. So we have the D point and C point are being immediately grabbed by both teams, and both are now pushing towards the middle. Good firefights from the building to building here over by the Charlie point. Bravo point now flipping towards NC favor.
Yeah, it looks like NC secured that place.
It's three points now in favor of the Jesters. Jesters playing on NC, Consortium on the Vanu. Vanu are only holding this Charlie point currently. With it looks like they're really holed up in there, Matt. I don't see a lot of them on the outside of that point.
Yeah,
Maybe
no.
a
When they
few
first broke out,
flyers.
what did you see from the Vanu?
I saw a mix. I saw NC
Yeah?
and Vanu both spread about 6 and 6, I'd say. You know, top and bottom.
Okay, well I know like 5. Yeah, I think 5. I counted 5 exactly that pushed to D from NC. So they obviously beat the Vanu. I'm seeing some dead Vanu bodies over at D, and they obviously beat the Vanu out of there, and were able to lock down the points. Looking good, but look at B. Look at B and A. That's
Yep.
not good stuff.
The Vanu are pushing up the middle now. They've left Charlie Point, moved through Bravo, which they've captured, and now taking Alpha, excuse me. And they have a very strong hold on, it looks like, the top platform area. So they've extended up, and I'm not sure where the NC currently are. Jesters pushed out of their 3 points.
They did. Wow, they definitely did. They had a solid start. But right now, I mean, they do not have the points. It doesn't even look like they're contesting another point to make it even and stop the timer going against their favor. But
Yeah,
currently
Consortium,
NC are just
yeah.
at D.
Consortium putting a lot of pressure using the top platform area, and it looks like they're trying to hold this 3-point perspective, and they have one guy on D, on the roof of D.
That Vanu light assault,
That is
yeah,
doing
not
light
even
assault,
trying for point.
not going for point. It looks like they're going for a 3-point hold here and holding the top platform, conceding Delta Point, but ganking anyone that tries to come out of that building. I mean,
That's
really
smart. That's really good. Not overextending, making sure your guys don't overextend, locking down your points that you have. That's really smart. That's a really solid strategy.
So, Jesters has been pushed back. We're about a neutral cap again. I mean, we're pretty much
Yeah,
a square.
wow. Back to square one. There we go, and we're back. All right, welcome. The match is beginning, folks. So you see these
And
light assaults,
just
these
as
Vanu
we
light
say
assaults,
that-
they're doing work.
Consortium now with 3 points again. The Vanu have 3 points. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and the timer's ticking up. I mean, this is a hotly contested. It really looks like Vanu, Consortium are really trying to hold the top of the building and a straight line from Charlie through Alpha, with maybe 1 or 2 harassers over on the Delta Point. And it looks to me like the NC, the Jesters, are running on the bottom floor a lot of the time, trying to snake up into the points and surround Consortium.
Big push from NC on C right now. And it's really interesting. I was watching this heavy do work on C point. He's using a suppressor on what looks like a Gauss saw or an EM6, one of those weapons. But using a suppressor, that's really interesting. That's really smart. It's another great tactic that you can employ.
Console is under VS influence.
Yeah, so I'd say the two points, it's interesting now because Vanu have grabbed Delta, leaving Alpha in NC favor and Bravo, so it's like they're shifting over to that far corner, and they're getting the straight line attack now with Charlie being contested. But
Oh yeah, look at the points.
The enemy has taken a control
I find that interesting because of the way the troops are funneling out of the Sunderers. It's hard to get to, if you're holding that back point, it's hard to kind of keep that alive if you don't have a clean spawn in. And we saw a lot in our previous matches, it tends to be the fact that people, with the 2 spawns, they'll pick one and they kind of keep going that way,
Yeah.
as opposed to staying spread. So what we're seeing now, I think, is, it's a flow system of one side
They are
is pulling,
spreading, most
one
definitely.
side. You think they're fully spreading? Or
Well,
is it that why
currently
we're
right
seeing
now,
flips back and forth of the...
could be different strategy, but right now, I mean, I see 2 NC push from the north, 2 NC push from the south, 1 NC from the north, 1 NC from the south. So I don't know if they have an alternating, schedule, rotation. Maybe they set their guys, all right, you always spawn from this one, you always spawn for this one. I'm not sure how they do it, but that's what I'm seeing. 2 guys pushing bottom, 2 guys pushing top.
Oh man,
From NC at
Consortium
least.
currently has all 4 points.
Oh, that's bad news. 2
That
minutes
is
on the cap.
huge hit
Look at that
to the
go.
capture. Look at it's just zipping along.
It's
We're
so
about a
mad.
little over maybe 33% on the capture now. And
We're down
Jesters
They turned
tries
that
to
around
stop
quick.
that by flipping both Bravo and Delta. But I mean, that's a big hit. Anytime you get like all four, it's just like, oh man, stop the bleeding as fast as you can.
Yep.
And look, just as they're flipping, they're contested, it's still going up because Consortium still has those 2 points, and now they have 3. I mean, it's a matter of if you can hold those points while you fight over those other ones, it just keeps ticking and ticking, and you're fighting against the clock.
Yeah, and this
Getting on
is
your
some of the
heels.
stuff right here at D point. There was 1 light assault and 1 infill from Vanu, just harassing 4 NC guys. If your man can do that, have 2 on 4, and still harass and still distract, that's gonna let you get other points. Look at C, look at B, look at A. Currently, the Vanu have that, and that's probably due to those 2 guys, that 1 infill and 1 light assault. They were doing pretty serious work on D point.
What I'm seeing a lot of the Vanu is they are holding spots. This is a disciplined attack here from Consortium. They have designated locations, and they're not roaming too much. It's almost like they get to their spot, they hold it, they lock it down,
That's
and then
nice.
when they're told, they advance and they're choking. It's like the noose effect. They're just taking control and they're locking it down. It looks like right now the NC are really struggling. The Jesters are really struggling to get inside the other points. Only Delta for the Jesters. The rest in Consortium hands. We're over 50% capture in favor of the VS, in favor of Consortium. It's not looking good for Jesters.
No, this is bad. I mean, I'm seeing the VS. I don't know if he's still there because I'm checking inside the D point right now. Good fighting going on in there. But on the roof, is that light assault still there? He just was. Oh, it looks like he got taken out. But again, like you were saying, right when you were commenting about them getting back to their spots, that light assault was sitting over D, doing his work, you know, picking out the guys that needed to take out. But
Yeah,
man,
well,
I'm seeing 3, 4 NC on D point, guarding against 1 or 2 Vanu that keep pushing, you know, just keep funneling in there, keep harassing that point. And you know, if they do that, if they let them, you know, distract them too long. I mean, look at the cap timer. They're really missing out.
We're about 60, almost 75% in favor of a capture and the end of this match. It just looks like Consortium just has a lockdown on Alpha Bravo Charlie. Just as I say that, of course, the middle point starts to contest, but their strong point has been that line. They've been holding that back line and pushing
I think
up.
what causes so good of a thing is so good of a line that you're talking about. C point, the guys that you were saying were holding the top of C point, and that light assault, there he is, back on the top of D. They're locking down that middle section of the base and not allowing any NC to cross that. Right now, another heavy assault. Is he going to get taken out? No, he was able to take out the medic that was trying to kill him. But I mean, he's getting shot from that roof of C point. It's just tough. It's just tough for the NC pushing across that middle place. They got to find another way around because right now, VS have that locked down.
Yeah, the Consortium's using the middle, so the middle courtyard area of the octagon, I guess. They're on the railing, it looks, and they're covering all angles into Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie from that railing. You know, using the top of buildings. They seem to kind of be really letting Delta be in NC hands, except for, you know, once or twice when they clear them out, they'll go in and flip it. But they're content. I mean, if they have 3 points, they're about 80 to 90% capture.
You don't need D point. Yep, you don't need D point.
35 seconds left in the capture. We have Charlie and Delta in flux. Delta back in hands of the NC. But it's looking like dire time for the Jesters.
Yeah, for this match,
25
I would
seconds.
definitely say, man, 24 seconds, this is going to get over quick if the NC don't do something. But this bridge that we're talking about in the center of the base, dude, this is death bridge, man. These NC are walking, they're smart players, they're using cover, they're breaking line of sight. But when they break line of sight from one direction, it
Oh
opens
man,
up
it's
line of
trouble.
sight from another.
Delta point's about to flip. 4
Oh, no,
seconds,
3
3
seconds.
seconds. Oh, right when you say that, I mean, they're on the.
Come
I think
on.
this is going. There it is.
Oh, there it is.
The match is over in favor of Consortium for Miller defeating the Jesters from Cobalt.
Solid. Very solid.
What do you have to see, what did you see there other than, you know, very disciplined play from Consortium as we spoke to? Did you think that just put the Jesters on their heels and they got kind of hit in the face and didn't know how to react?
I think it was pretty even beginning, back and forth a little bit. Good start from I believe the NC it was, right? The NC, good start, had those 3 points. Vanu came back, took the 3 points, then they locked it down. Though. They really locked it down. There's a little pushback from the NC, but once the Vanu got in their swing, you know, once they got their mojo going, they were able to keep that thing pretty locked down. I just keep coming back to this bridge. It was amazing. Probably from just what I saw when I was looking at the bridge, I saw 10 plus NC die on this bridge and not get revived. That's huge. That's huge. That takes time off the clock. That means that those NC aren't getting anywhere near point. They're not taking out enemies. They're not making the Vanu go back to their spawns. I mean, just going pushing across that bridge over and over again, I think really killed them, really hurt them. Because what that means is that's a great bridge to use. Gets you right next to B, gets you good access to C, but not when it's locked down like the Vanu had it locked down. You know, you gotta find other paths. You gotta maybe send one infiltrator up on the top of the bridge, so everybody's focusing on him. He's cloaking and uncloaking, just distraction, so that some team can move underneath or something like that, or go around the back and see, you know, do something. Since we don't have, you know, any sort of beacons, unless the Vanu sees them, they're not gonna be spotted. They're not gonna be called out, because you know you don't got this, you know, little sensory thing that's gonna tell you what's going on. But man, yeah, that bridge just really, tons of NC dying on that bridge. A lot of dead NC bodies, a lot of blood on that bridge.
Well played by Consortium. Great effort from Jesters. Match 1 is in the books with Consortium out of Miller moving on to face the winner of our upcoming match number 2, Total Recoil and No Nonsense Gamers, in our PAL Weekly Preseason Week 2 Finals. Of course, Match 2 coming up, Total Recoil, NNG. Please give us a moment to change this back, get our new players back in here, and we'll be back. Stand by while our organizers set up the next match.
The enemy has taken a control console.